Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson. I just wanted to go over the setup with you on the Oompa Loompa genetics today to give you some help on how to set these different Punnett score practice questions up. So let me go ahead and I'll screen share the questions with you and we'll look at them together and set up a key. All right, so if you look here at number 1, it says Oompas generally have blue faces, which is caused by a dominant gene. The recessive condition results in an orange face. Develop a key to show the genotypes and phenotypes possible for Oompa Loompas. So if we think about the question here, it just talks about dominant and recessive. So blue is dominant to orange recessive. And so that's basic Mendelian genetics. And so that's the stuff that we started with. So let me go to screen share here. There we go. So that's the stuff that we started with last week. And so it says blue is dominant, and so we use a big letter there, to orange, and that's recessive, so we can just use a little b. So if an individual is blue, they would have big B, or remember, they could also be heterozygous. So if this is basic Mendelian genetics, they can be big B, or big B, little b. Let me turn off that light, that's awful bright. Or big B, little b, and be blue. And then if they're orange, remember that's said from the question, that's recessive. And so if it's orange, it can be little b. So there's your basic key for the first set of questions. So it's basic Mendelian genetics where there's one dominant allele and one recessive allele. All right, so let's go back over and look at the questions here. Okay, so number 1, it just says set up the key. And remember, the genotypes are the letter combinations and the phenotypes are the colors. So blue and orange are the phenotypes. And then the letter combinations, big B, little b, little b, those are the genotypes. And you're going to use that key for questions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. So going down to number 7 here. So number 7 says Oompas can have red, blue, or purple hair. So when I think about those 3 colors, like red and blue, if you mix them together, you get purple. And so that is a blending effect. So that's like we talked about the other day with incomplete dominance. So anytime you have incomplete dominance, you're going to get a blend of things. And so let's go ahead and jump back over to my document camera and we'll make a key for this set of questions. So it said they can have blue, purple, or red. Was it hair? I can't remember. So red, blue, or purple. And so purple is that middle. So if we take red and blue and put them together, we get purple. So it's a blending effect. So I'm going to write blending. And anytime you get a blending situation, it's incomplete dominance. Okay, so we're just going to we'll use capital B. Actually, no, let's not use B's because it might tell us that, oh, blue is more strong or more dominant than purple. So I'm not going to use B's here. Let me jump back over. What was the question? Did it talk, was this hair color? Sorry. Yeah, it talks about hair color. So let's jump back over to the question. So let's just use H's instead of the colors. So their hair, if they're blue, they would have both dominant alleles. And if they're red, we would say, okay, maybe they have 2 recessive alleles. And then purple hair would be heterozygous. All right, so you can use B's or R's or H's. Honestly, it doesn't matter which letters you use, as long as you understand that, okay, one is going to have these 2 and the other these 2, and then this is a blend. But we're not going to use all capital letters because one, they're not both dominant at the same time. So like this blue is kind of not completely dominant. The red is not completely recessive. So we get this blending effect. So you're going to use a key. You can use any letters. If you don't like H's, you can use B's or R's or P's or whatever you want to use. But just understand that when it's heterozygous, you're going to get the blended one. So if you take red and blue and put them together, you get purple. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll jump back to the questions here. So you're going to use that key for number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then starting with number 13, we have another scenario here. So number 13, it says Oompas can have either yellow, I'm sorry, I can't read. Oompas can have either green, yellow, or pink fingernails, depending on their genotypes. Green and yellow are codominant, resulting in green and yellow spotted nails. And both green and yellow are dominant over pink. Okay, so this is a little tricky. So we got a few things going on. Develop a key that shows the genotypes and phenotypes. Okay, so green and yellow are both dominant and pink is recessive. So let me go to my document camera here and we'll work this out. All right, so it says you can have green or yellow or pink. Okay, and it says green and yellow are dominant over pink. And so let's use a little p to indicate pink being recessive. And it says yellow and green are both codominant. So when they're together, you get green and yellow spots. So that tells us that it's codominance. And so let's use big G for green, big Y for yellow. Okay, so if they're green, they're definitely going to be big G. If they're yellow, they're going to be big Y. Actually, I said that wrong. Let me get back to this one. But if they're little p, they're going to be pink. So let's think about, so this is where we're starting, but let's think about some possible combinations here. So if I had big G, little p, so green is dominant and pink is recessive. So even though we have different alleles and different letters for them, green is still going to be dominant. So this one's going to be green. Okay, what if I had big Y, little p? Again, yellow is dominant over pink. So this one, because there's a dominant yellow allele, then this one would be yellow. Okay, so if we have big G, it's going to be green, but it could also be big G, little p and be green. The same with yellow, we could have big Y, yellow, but also big Y, little p is yellow. Okay, so those are two examples that would make yellow versus green. But then what if I had big G, big Y? So both of them are dominant, so both of them are going to show through. So this would be green and yellow spotted. Okay, so anytime you have both of them showing through at the same time, that's codominance. Okay, so here we have an example of codominance with yellow and green, but this is also an example of a multiple allele trait. So we don't just have yellow and green that we're dealing with, we also have this third allele of pink being recessive. So this is an example of both codominance and multiple alleles. And this is very similar to our human blood type that we'll work on tomorrow. So you're going to use this key for questions number, sorry, let me go back to the document over here. So you're going to use that key for questions number 13 through the end, through number 18. Okay, well, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and I'll be happy to send you an answer as soon as I can. Good luck, and I'll talk to you guys soon.